Bahashim Yahushua Bahashim Kakudash. Peace and salutations. Shalom Labakari Shah Yasharab. Peace to the elect of the nation of Israel. And Staak Timothy Yasharala. And just gonna do a little walk and talk right now. You know, figure I'd get some exercise, walk around, you know, try to see what's going on. And yeah, I mean, well, anybody that's been watching the news lately, you see DJT backpedaling, you know. He's become basically a full-on pariah to the world and to the American people, you know. This idiot's gone and started an illegal war. Can't really fight it or finish it because of the geographical disposition of the main target that they were trying to go after to open up the Strait of Hormuz, you know, which is totally, I mean, if you think about it, what they sent out there and the type of warfare equipment that they sent out there for that place, you know, the Strait of Hormuz is 21 miles, you know, and width, I guess you could say, at the you know, the smallest part. I guess right around Carg Island or whatever they, you know, were trying to do. But the warfare apparatus that they sent out there is clearly not what they need to be able to get the job done. And they can't get the job done because it's like, how can I say, they sent battleships and carriers and F-35s. Basically a bunch of, on the surface and on paper, the armaments that the military has look great, but and that geographical location, all of that shit is basically worthless because the strait itself is small, and they've got fast moving, you know, missiles, mines, things of that nature. It can't really be done the way they're trying to go at it. And this guy is you know, with many counselors, wise decisions are made, you know. But this guy, he's fired all the counselors that were basically the naysayers that would have told him, like, you know, you can't do this because, you know, or we can't do this because, you know, if you try to take Carg Island, you can't mount a suitable or a long-standing assault because your MEUs or your Marine infantry units, they can take a beachhead, but they can't, you know, you have to have like basically reinforcements. You have to have several MEUs, you know. And right now they only had, what, 2 or 3, something like that, but you can't take, like, you need battalions upon battalions, whole companies to be able to do what they needed to do. And even if they got to that point where they could have battalions and companies on there, they would just get killed. You know, the missiles would just come in and just kill them. They would just basically get slaughtered. You know, the U.S. military, on the surface and on paper, because they spend so many billions of dollars every year, it looks great. But when you're just coming off of a 20-year war that you had to lose. What did we lose? It seems like everybody forgot about what Biden did and losing, what, 300 billion, I think, dollars worth of armament. You know, I mean, that whole removal or rush removal from Iraq is the whole reason why, the U.S. doesn't own the night anymore. They more or less rent it. Because before, most of what they would call their enemies, they didn't have access to night vision and things of that nature. And now, with the advent of drone warfare, it's like it's impossible for them to really take that island the way they want to take it. Because, for one, even if they get on that island, like I said, missiles would just be launched and they would be overrun, killed, and then they would have to start over again. And it would be the next wave would come in and they would get fucking manhandled and just slaughtered. So it doesn't look good. Now he's backpedaling saying, we accomplished every goal that we wanted to accomplish and we did it all and now it's time to go home. Well, really, you probably hit thousands of points on the ground. They did some infrastructural damage, yeah, I don't doubt that. But really, by and large, the strait is still closed. And the Iranians were calling the shots in this thing, it looks like, from beginning to end. And every target that they said they were going to hit, they hit, And basically, it just doesn't look good for this president. I'm just hoping that Iran, the NATO nations, and the Russians and the Chinese, I hope that they in their tactful, more sensible mindsets will not destroy this country because of one idiot. By and large, the American people don't agree with this war. It's an unjust war. It's by Esau Edom's guidelines and rules. If we're talking about, the Constitution, it's a totally unconstitutional war. None of our allies were notified that this was going to happen or why. And so it's senseless. And now he looks like a buffoon, for starting a war that you couldn't finish and you couldn't really win. And then on top of it, you did it in a way that was haphazard and illegal. There was no congressional hearing, no congressional oversight, nothing. You just went and signed the executive order, and as the commander-in-chief just told the military we're going in, and this is, and you got some foolhardy flunky, some lemmings, to do your bidding. And that's what they did, So, that's what happens. Then they fired the old Secretary of Defense and anybody that would tell them that this wasn't a good idea or would strongly advise against it. So they got a bunch of shills and a bunch of lemmings to, just agree with them. Yeah, we're gonna go attack Iran for no good reason, and we're gonna try to take their oil so we can. The whole stupid thing is, okay. He was coming off that I guess you would call it a victory off of the Venezuelan thing, but Venezuela is not Iran. These people, the Iranians, have been waiting and itching for a fight for 45 years from the Americans, and they were more prepared. And as far as the ceasefire goes, you can call a ceasefire. One side calls a ceasefire, but you're in a position where the Iranians hold all the cards. So even if they do call a ceasefire and they stop, what's the guarantee that the Iranians are going to stop now? Because, the only, and I agree with Ritter, with Scott Ritter on this thing. He was saying in the interview that he just did this morning with Andrew Politano that the only saving grace in this thing would be is if they're going to call ceasefire and stop all military action and get all military out of the Gulf region, take everything back, and if the Iranians want to set up a toll, for us like the New York Thruway or something like that for the Americans, then we'll just pay back their reparations for whatever we've destroyed infrastructural wise, and do it like that until it's paid off. And then once it's paid off, have the Strait of Hormuz be like international, under international control. So, but there's, even with that, there's no guaranteeing that they will even acquiesce to that. They might acquiesce to some of that stuff, but by and large, this war was totally unjust, and DJT has undone basically 70 years of 70 years of diplomacy. Multiple presidents, multiple administrations, multiple embassy heads and diplomats. And he just like a fucking wrecking ball, just he's at the helm of this thing, and really he's not even at the helm. He's a world leader, and this whole hierarchy, Esau Edom is at the top with the international banking families. Then under that you have the royals, and then under that you have your world leaders, and under that you have your celebrity types, and that's basically how all of that whole hierarchy, the high table is the bankers, the international bankers. They're basically calling the shots. I don't give a shit about, they're just doing their own agenda. So but yeah, I stopped because I found somebody had left some gloves over there. I'm just gonna leave them. They may come back for them, but yeah, basically, this is all. If anybody's ever read that book by, this is all the brainchild basically of two men. One being Adam Weishaupt, the Bavarian Illuminati head that started the Illuminati, and Albert Pike, which basically gave the rundown of how they were going to create the 3 world wars to make a unified international governmental body, so that they could have a one world currency, one world currency system. And that's basically what's happening and what's going on. So yeah, I mean that's basically it. That's what's happening. But yeah, I figure I'd do this walk and talk. But right now, we know that when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes. And they won't be able to escape. But what I'm and I'm we of the hopeful elect, we're trusting in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua to come back and to get us out of here. Abaratazah, Adawan I'll be a part of that number. And if you're watching this, you'll be a part of that number as well. But the thing is, until that time comes, and don't get me wrong, I've always been like a type of person that ever since about 2012, I started trying to, do a little prepping, having a little bit extra, just in case type thing. So, but I'm thinking, yeah, it may be if you're not into that type of thing, you might want to get just a little extra, a little extra food, a little extra water, a little extra gasoline, a jackery, something like that. It's nothing wrong with having those things. I mean, we're not putting our faith in those things. Verily, our faith is in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and only He is gonna make a way for us. Because you can have all the gear and all the accoutrements of life, all the bells and whistles and everything else, and you can still wind up getting jacked up, especially if Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is not supping with you. And if you can't read or see the times, so it's going to be a lot of 2/3 that get really jacked up in this thing, when it really jumps off, when it really comes to the point where, the SHTF happens, then yeah, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad, because a lot of people, they're not going to be ready. They're not going to be ready when SHTF does happen, but they're not going to be ready from the spiritual standpoint. And that's the thing that is the most important in all your preparation. What does the scripture say? With all you're getting, get wisdom and get understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing, and if with all you're getting, get understanding. And that being said, also like the Proverbs, I believe it's Proverbs 22, says that a wise man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. So you got to take that into consideration in these times that we're about to enter in, because Jacob's trouble ain't gonna be no joke, And the time to get ready is now. The time to shoot. The time to be ready is now. We just went through the Pesach, This is the eighth day is tomorrow. So I mean, it's a serious situation right now. Spiritually. People need to be getting ready, taking heed to what the elder apostles and the bishops have put in. The watchmen. All of us that are crying inside against this wicked devil, this wicked Esau, Edom kingdom, and trying to, tell y'all the truth. But yeah, the whole thing is, it's coming to a head, but it's still going to be some time, because we still got the major. The one major prophecy that has to happen is the MOTB, right? So until that happens, it's really nothing. So once the MOTB comes, then it'll be the MOTB, Mark of the Beast, Hour of Temptation, which come on the whole world suddenly, and everybody's gonna have to make that choice. I tell my loved ones, my family members, some of them get it, some of them understand it, and some of them don't. But hey, the main thing is, how does Psalms 12, kiss the sun? Yeah, now's the time to be kissing the sun, really. We just went through Pesach, took the sacred sacrament of the body and the blood of Yahushua, and you still got these groups out here like IUIC throwing parties and concerts and thinking it's a game, and thinking it's just they're just having a good old time, like that is what is honoring to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. A solemn assembly means solemn. Solemn is not mirth. Solemn is seriousness. It's not happy-go-lucky, how you doing? Who's got the best outfit on? I want these tassels this way. I want the fringes on the outfit this way. I want to have these fringes on the arms. You know, and it ain't really about any of that. That's why this year, and this year was a special Pesach because, but my son, he turned 13, so this Pesach was the first time that he took the Pesach as what Yahweh would deem as a man, so I told him about it. I've been rearing him up because the scripture says, train a child in the way that he should go, and when they get old, they won't not depart from it. So, training them up, sharing them the truth, giving them this truth, this doctrine, letting them know that hey, look, this isn't a lamb dinner. This is the sacred sacrament of the blood of and the body of Yahweh Hamashiach. And he understood, and we took the sacred sacrament together, standing on our feet with our shoes on our feet and our staffs, leaning on our staffs, and we ate it in haste with the bitter herbs, which these guys in these camps, especially like Sakari and Genesis and some of them, they don't even want to. I like, how much of a wuss are you that you don't want to partake of the sacred sacrament in the way that you're supposed to? It didn't. If you're not going to do it right, then don't do it at all. And I know that we rehearsing the righteous acts of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. We rehearsing the righteous acts, but at the same time, how you gonna take the body and blood and eat of the lamb and be worried that I don't like the bitter herbs, I don't like the horseradish, What? You know how bitter the crucifixion was for Yahweh Shai? The very least that you can do is eat the bitter herbs. Like, nah, man. And horseradish is good, and it's good for you, And so what? I know that the first time I had it, the first time my son had it, it does punch you in your nose, when you got fresh horseradish, I had gotten a good jar because actually I kept a couple of jars. I had that's why I said, a wise man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. I had a couple of extra jars of horseradish, and I had some horseradish sauce as well. And I used the horseradish. I used the raw horseradish, and yeah, it does. It punches you right in your nose. When you eat it, first bite, oh my God, eyes watering and everything. But that uncomfortability for a moment pales in comparison to what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai suffered on Golgotha, So, it shouldn't be a big deal. These dudes want to eat lettuce, and I'm gonna eat tomato. That's bitter herb too. I'm gonna eat tomato. Man, get out of here with that nonsense, man. You don't eat that horseradish and chew it and swallow this down, you better. But yeah, that's but yeah, where we at right now is eagerly and patiently awaiting with fear and trembling and praying every day for mercy and repenting daily, fasting and praying, repenting daily, because like I said, Jacob's trouble is it's going to be one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, we don't even know what our eyes are going to behold, and the turmoil and the tribulation we're going to have to go through. We don't know the specifics, but we do know that through much tribulation we shall enter into the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and there ain't no two ways about it. So yeah, I just want to make this video because I had some time, and being right now, and this is the thing. Yahweh Shai has been so good to me these last couple of years, and I really thank him. Every day I say the water Yahweh Shai, Barakatam Yahweh Shai, because coming into this truth and hearing this truth, I was one of those brothers that, as Paul says, being in perils of false brethren. I was one of them type of brothers, and I'm not talking about brothers that's in the truth and that know, and that follow the elder apostles, a great millstone, and I'm not talking about them brothers, but I've been around brothers, that weren't brothers, and so-called proclaiming to be in this truth, and I don't want to name names, but I'll say like this: I was once part of a ministry that wasn't. They wouldn't acknowledge the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and I had to get up out of there. The Spirit led me to see that this is not the 100% doctrine, because the foundation of the 100% doctrine is the name. The foundation of the name is what it is. It's foundational truth. His name, Yahweh, the Father, He exists. Yahweh Shai, He is salvation. He is deliverer. So that being said, I had to part ways with them Kamakian, and being around and coming to the knowledge that, reading Deuteronomy 28 and looking around and looking at our life and the society as a whole, as so-called black people in America, you understand, and when you start to understand, you start to see yourself as, oh, that's why we're here. That's why nobody knows where we come from or who we are, and why we take on the monikers like black, and like where's Blackland. Everybody else has a specific region with a country name, even though those names also, whether you call yourself Italian, whether you call yourself French, whether you call, those are bywords also in a way, because, they're Esau, Edom, they're Edomites, but at the same time, at least they have, a country that they can go back to and say, oh, I'm from this part of the world or that part of the world. Whereas, the Negroes, so-called Negroes in America, are just black, black people. Where's the Blackia, Blackville, Blacklandia, nah. So, once I started coming into this truth, I started seeing, the curses, and boy, I mean, we all went through it. We all cried like babies. I know I did. I cried like it was days. I was messed up. I was like, oh my goodness, that's why it's like the way it is. That's why it's the way it is. Like, I cried my eyes out. But yeah, being under these curses, and then trying to, I went through the whole phase of trying to wake everybody up. Hey, this is where we're at, and not realizing that some of these people, are 2/3. Some of them are the same ones that screamed out and cried out, crucify him, crucify him. Give us Barabbas. Some of the same ones that said the curses be upon us and our children. Some of those are the same people that we be out here, trying to, scream on, crying inside and telling them, like, look, this is what we have to do. But they're not going to listen. Because some of them, are the ones that pierced him. And they're going to see him, when he comes back. So, with that being said, just stay strong until the end, because we got to endure all things, and endure whatever we have to go through. Right now it's kind of like the calm before the storm, but like I said, when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. So we all got to be mindful of that. So yeah, but like I said, a wise man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. And just like Psalm 91 say, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And that's our hiding place. Our hiding place, really, truly, is in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Reading these scriptures, reading this truth, getting into these scriptures, supping with the Most High. He says, he promises that if any man hear him, and behold, I knock at the door. If any man hear an answer, he will come in and sup with him. And so that's where we at. That's what we got to do. We know that, it's going to be the civil insurrection. We know that it's going to be, maybe martial law at some point. It's going to be crazy, but right now in this time is the time to be getting close to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, to be supping with him, and to, be doing the work also. That's not being, and I know, because I experience it too. Sometimes the spirit ain't on me, or I'm troubled with the things going on around me, and then that's one of the things that he was saying. You can't be so wrapped up in the cares of this world. Whatever's going on around you, you gotta get to the point where you trusted in Yahweh and Yahushua, and you're not worried about who says what. Fear not the imaginations against you. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So, you gotta keep that in mind. You can't be worried about what, the naysayers, even very friends and family, say about you, what other people say about you, what other people think about you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So, yeah, but, and getting into these scriptures and doing the work, just like Elder Apostle Tahar was saying, you can't be a nigga all week and then just show up at camp like, hey, I'm here, you gotta be doing your due diligence, and really, it's all for your benefit, We gotta study to show ourselves approved. We gotta get that study time in. We gotta do this work. We gotta be out on the highways and byways, and in the main concourses of the city, And we got to, we should be, putting out videos. Now, I may not put a video out every single day, but I know that when the Spirit is on me and I got some time, and even sometimes when I don't have a whole lot of time, I'll press play. But on today, I wanted to press play because I'm just out here at the park, going through the woods. That's where I'm at. I'm just walking the trails, over here next to the water, Just walking the trails, Just being outside, I like it over here. I could be outside all day and only see like one person, Right now, I'm the only one out here. It's the middle of the day. I'm between plantations. So, I might as well, go for a walk and talk, hit the button and you know, spread some more of this truth, you know, and maybe, yeah, hopefully, Abaratazah, I don't want Ratazah, is edifying to whoever clicks on the video, especially if they be of the elect, because that's really all we doing this for, you know, for the elect. That's all for the elect, and we being the hopeful elect. We say it in humility, because we don't know. We don't know. Only Yahweh Hashem Yahushua knows who's his elect and who's he's coming back for. But we're gonna do everything that we can to make our calling and election sure. So, you know, I know that's what I'm trying to do. You know, and if you're in this truth, I know you're doing the same. So, but yeah, well, I just wanted to get on here and make a quick video and you know, press the button. Yeah, the water your house shot, the water your house. It's a beautiful day today. It really is a beautiful day. And this area right here is really one of the nicest areas around here. I really like this. It's a park over here. I like it. You know, I haven't been able to get out here. You know, but now that since the weather is breaking, it's been a little bit nicer. So it's a little, you know, it's a nice little daytime type getaway, you know. And yeah, I know I'm, you know, right now, like I said, being between plantations, I just left the last plantation I was on, and you know, I mean, it's not that I want to leave or be let go, but I got let go basically, and so, but you know, I'm trusting Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, and He's been providing for me thus far. So I ain't gonna worry about it, you know. And when something else comes, if it comes, hopefully it come before, you know, they make that mandatory MOTB thing. If not, then hey, look, let what come may, you know, whatever may come. You know, I know that. Yeah, I know that. Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. So that's what I'm keeping in mind, you know. And the knowledge and wisdom is the truth. The knowledge and wisdom is the truth, you know. Rarely the truth is Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, but the word, staying in the scriptures, you know, because as the scripture says, all the things written therein were written aforetime for our knowledge and for our learning, you know, so that we could be edified, you know, through our own trials and temptations and you know, yeah. So that's what it is, you know. You just gotta look to the Lord. Look to Yahushua, you know. Was it Psalms 18? Psalms 18. Was it? The name of Yahweh is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it and is safe. So that's what you have to keep in mind. That's what you have to keep in mind through all of it, the good times and the bad, you know. Yahweh isn't unbalanced. He's a balance. You know, so he may give you a job and let you, you know, make a couple shekels, you know, and you keep, you know, you're still doing the work, you know, you feeling good, you making a couple shekels, but at the same time, it may get to the point where he say, okay, well, that's enough of that for right now. I want you to focus more on me, you know, focus more on doing the work that I got for you, you know, to do. Instead of just, you know, being focused on making money or making shekels, you know, to be focused on, you know, this truth and this doctrine. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, you know. I'm just doing what I can do. Basically just do what I could do to get by. But even in my lowly estate, when your estate changes and when you don't have the things or the as many options as you had before, whether it's be through having less financial means or what have you. You got to take it all in stride, and you got to continue to trust Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, because He gonna make a way. I ain't starving. My children ain't starving. I'm able to feed them. They good. Their mother's good. She ain't starving. Got some place to call home. Got some place to rest my head. Hey, I got clothes on right now. I got clothes on my back. So I got air in my lungs. I'm breathing. My heart is pumping. I got blood pumping through my veins. So you just gotta be grateful, have gratitude, be thankful. For the things that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua gives unto us and grants us each day. So that's what it is. Yeah, I'm gonna stay right here. Oh man, this reminds me of Psalm 23, where it says, "He leadeth me by the still waters. He restoreth my soul." It's beautiful, beautiful scenery. Probably the camera don't do it justice, but because that's one thing I always noticed too. Even with when I had the iPhone, when I had I had another Droid. I think I had a Motorola, and even with the Samsung, the S series, these cameras they pale in comparison to the handiwork of Yahweh. He created the eye. Yeah, He created and gave us the ability to be able to see. Ocular vision, and and for our brains to be able to take in all the information and data, and our and then process it. It's amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. Well, I'm thankful. Granted, I ain't having the best time in life right now, but I'm still thankful because of all those things I mentioned before. Yahweh's good. Yahweh's good. So, yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video. I've been making videos, but sometimes I just do like the screen shoot, so that I let the main thing be the main thing. The main thing is the doctrine. So it ain't about me. But I noticed that a couple of brothers' pages that I do like to watch, especially like the Aki, Amawan Gabar, the Akwam, the Akiam Malak, the hopeful of Malak hopeful of that, and the Elder Apostle Gabar, of course. He always did. That's where the walk and talk came from. So, but yeah, I mean, with that, I pretty much will say Shalom. That's all I got for right now. So, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham.